We're going back live to the UN General Assembly as authorities, Cuban authorities in this case, continue to deliver statements on the importance of removing unilateral sanctions. Let's listen.
To sustain services, including basic services like healthcare, transport, the generation of electricity, telecommunications, and education. President, the economic embargo against Cuba is not even limited to the things I just described. With the disproportionate control that the United States has on the flow and management of international financial transactions, the proposal and the achievements, and it's achieved with cruel efficiency in all parts of the world, they're controlling Cuba's possibility to obtain loans and to receive and emit payments, to engage in trade transactions, to transfer money and open and manage bank accounts. It's also making it significantly more expensive for any financial for there to be any financial transactions in the country, and this is having an effect on the economy. The United States government is also applying UCMs against merchant ships of any type that dock in Cuban ports. They're threatening and taking coercive actions against companies and persons of any country that, in full alignment with international law and Cuban law, are investing capital in our economy. In recent years, still not satisfied with the level of aggression and harm that they're already causing, the United States government started the criminal practice of pursuing and taking coercive measures against ships transporting fuel to Cuba and against companies and agencies, insurance agencies, that support the cargo of these ships. This is a wartime measure without any legal or moral standing at all, and the goal is to cause shortages and suffering for the Cuban people, including Cuba, without any basis whatsoever on the arbitrary and selective list of the State Department on countries that supposedly sponsor terrorism. The United States has unleashed an additional raft of unilateral coercive measures of a financial nature, especially, and they are also geared towards coercing and taking action against citizens of more than 40 countries against their right of these people to travel freely to Cuba. Over recent years, the United States has unleashed a campaign of intimidation against governments of dozens of third countries to engage in bilateral cooperation programs with Cuba in the area of healthcare. And the fundamental goal of this, it really is to provide quality and affordable medication to their populations in need. All of this, Mr. President, violates international law and the pillars that this organization is built on. I really don't have enough time to describe everything and describe the full magnitude and scope of the economic war of the United States against Cuba. There's never enough time to really do justice to how this is affecting our economic policies, the efforts of authorities to ensure the vitality of the country, to implement the transformations we require for our economy, to ensure social justice, to support the most in need, and to not abandon our development plans. We are also struggling to really illustrate the accumulated impact that this has on the life and well-being of the Cuban people, the Cuban families, and the people that are focused on peace. Unilateral coercive measures are a crime. It's necessary to show solidarity with all nations and people that are suffering this such cruel and illegitimate punishment. Thank you very much.
Doy las gracias al excelentísimo viceministro.
I thank His Excellency, the Deputy Minister of Foreign Affairs of Cuba, and I now give the floor to the distinguished representative of Iraq on behalf of the G77 in China.
Mr. President.
We were listening to the statements at this UN plenary session that is intended to discuss and go over the importance and the impact that unilateral coercive measures have on sovereign nations. We listened to the statements by the Vice Minister of Foreign Relations of Cuba, Carlos Fernández de Cossío, who denounced also the imposition of the U.S. blockade on the Caribbean island and the harsh impact it has on Cuban society, creating strong shortages and creating hardships for the good development of Cuban society. The Cuban official also denounced the inclusion of Cuba in the State Department's list of countries that sponsor terrorism without any kind of evidence, and denounced the inclusion of Cuba on this list and its immediate removal. De Cossío also went over to the negative impact that the unilateral coercive measures have on sovereign nations and their relations with other nations across the world. This is what is happening right now at the UN General Assembly, as representatives of different areas, different countries are debating on the importance and the impact of removing the unilateral coercive measures and the impact it has on sovereign societies. Stay tuned with teleSUR English for more.